That is the fabulous Scott Smith, everybody, and his fabulous band. Good morning. Hi. Happy Sunday. Quick with Mel also.
What? You took my piano with you.
Song of the month called I Release and I Let Go. So if we can get you to stand, we're all going to sing together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, what's up, Mike? All right, everybody, good morning. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, hey, say hello to somebody around you. Ready? Here we go. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. All right. Good morning, everybody.
So how's your leg?
My leg's better.
Oh, because I noticed you weren't gimping around.
I don't think I want to dance or anything, but we're okay.
Soft shoe shuffle or anything. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Oh, well, you look fabulous. All in your warm little clothes that we get to wear for about a week and a half. Anyway, let's see what's going on. Nothing is going on. Well, why don't we start with this? You want to talk about this?
Why don't we have anything going on? Really? Are we starting out like that today? Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Of course, it's that time of year where we collect toys and blankets. And so we're sponsoring 2 different organizations. You can choose either one. Well in the Desert, and we have a list of things that you could pick up and bring in, and we'll make sure it's delivered to them. And also Child Help is another organization that we help. So you get to choose whichever one you'd like. Bring the toy or whatever it is on the list in. Make sure it's unwrapped so we know where it goes. And there's a list for boys and a list for girls, and then a general one over here. So we're going to get engaged in that. Now, on December 22nd, we have candlelight at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
6 o'clock, right?
And,
I said 6?
right.
Yeah, 6
and
o'clock.
So we've got only 100 you can grab a ticket for only 2. Each person can only take 2.
And they're going to be available starting next week.
Next week. And so there'll be like a period where you can come in with your ticket, I think at like 15 minutes before the general door opens. And if you're not here, oh well. And so I'm just saying it gets filled up because this is probably one of the most spectacular
Well, I want to
events.
announce, too, that you remember we brought Nikki Harris? Yes. She's performing on Candlelight. So we're flying her in. She's actually coming out from Atlanta. So we're like, that was my gift to this. My gift to you is that I paid for her airfare to come sing for us on Saturday.
All right. Well, that's pretty nice. Talking about gifts, we just want to thank you all. We didn't announce this, but out of your tithe, part of our tithe was we gave $1,500 in gift cards to the Westlake Village Church because they had a lot of people that were affected by those fires up there. And we're already getting thank you cards.
Yeah, we got a thank you note from one of the members who received it. Her and her son's very ill, and they lost their home. And she said she was so very grateful because I guess when it happens like that, the insurance company just doesn't pay you right out. There's this gap where you have to just survive, and she didn't have any money for the gap, so we really helped her out, and we've helped out other families. So that's a fund that we regularly use. So people talk about what do we do in the community, what do we do in the universe. That's one of the things we put back. In fact, I hand-delivered them actually to the church myself. All right, let's go to the next slide, William. Oh, yes, next, on December 16th, I'm going to Bhutan through Thailand. I'm going to go with Edward Vion.
Well, you're not going that date.
Not that date. No, December 16th is the meeting. December 16th is the meeting. We're going to go next September. It's next September, but we're going to have a meeting on December 16th after each service. So after each service, you have to come back. So if you're interested in going to Bhutan with me and Dr. Edward and probably Laura, and we have a really good time. I'm telling you, it's a
wonderful
week of fun.
time.
So plan on getting some information by showing up on December 16th.
And then Daniel Namod is doing his Holiday House concert. It's wonderful. It's up in Orange County, but if you're interested, there's flyers. It's in his studio where he does recordings. It's very intimate. It just really is a wonderful time to be there. So
David.
Anyway, and he's also doing a retreat. That was the announcement, but also about Westlake. But also I wanted to, Ginny wanted to thank everybody for the blankets and the food and the donations. It really helped a lot. So we are changing lives one heart at a time and 4 paws at a time. And I think that's it.
That's it.
So,
let's hear it for Elizabeth, actually William who put up the structure, but Elizabeth who single-handedly put this together.
okay, that woman does everything. Can I just say, she's amazing.
They surprised us by telling us we only could pick them up this week, so we're gonna nurse them until candlelight. How's that? All right,
Right.
we're gonna nurse them a lot.
Right.
So some may
Gosh.
make their transitions, but be patient. We'll be patient with that.
And so don't forget, if you want to, in our candlelight service, we always list who we want to remember or honor. And so there's a flyer out there that you can donate $10 per poinsettia, and their names will be listed in that program.
Ready? Yes, introduce. Here we go. Nadine, come on up. Oh, I got a lot of reverb. Come on up. Introduce Nadine and all that she does. Thank you.
We love this woman. She is amazing. You've probably seen her here with us several times, and then also with her trio girls that just do amazing work around the world. But today you're going to hear the amazing soloist Nadine Risha, and she's going to do a beautiful, beautiful meditation for you this morning as well. So put your hands together for Nadine.
Thank you so much. Good morning, family.
1, 2, 3,
We're on a wheel, spinning through the cosmos. All the love we feel spins away the fear. Walking on the water, emanating power. Blessed Holy Spirit, guide us on our way. For we are courage and we are freedom for all the people. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are masters and we are heroes for all the kingdoms. As we lighten up the world, give me all your burdens, give me all your sadness. You'll be filled with laughter only when you say that you are holy water, you are highly favored. Blessing all the mountains, valleys, hills, and plains. For we are courage and we are freedom for all the people. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are masters and we are heroes for all the kingdoms. As we lighten up the world, as we lighten up, go on and show the love's the way. As we lighten up, have faith in every word you say. As we lighten up, give up the storm. your holy water. We are highly favored, blessing all the mountains, valleys, hills, and plains. For we are courage and we are freedom for all the people. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are masters and we are heroes for all the kingdoms. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are courage and we are freedom for all the people. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are masters and we are heroes for all the kingdoms. As we lighten up the world, as we lighten up the world.
Nadine, beautiful
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you, darling. Come here, sweetheart. All right, next up, Dale, come on up. And speaking of lighting up the world, tonight is the first night of Hanukkah, right? So, and as our tradition, make sure we have a practitioner mic up. As our tradition, Dale is going to explain to us what happens in the Jewish tradition tonight, all right? So, Dale.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, it's good to be here today. So, as Dr. Joe said, tonight is the first night of Hanukkah for those who are of the Jewish faith. And so we're going to be doing something very special tonight, which includes this menorah. And for those of you that don't know me, by the way, I was raised in the Jewish tradition. So this symbol for me is very meaningful because I grew up in a very religious family, and we celebrated all the holidays. The story behind Hanukkah is really a story about triumphing in the midst of appearances, when it looks like the odds are against you and you're not going to make it. This story teaches us that it doesn't matter, because when you've got faith and you have God, you can do it all. You can go beyond what you think is possible. So in the years 200 BC, the Jewish people were downtrodden. They were oppressed because Israel was occupied by what might be called a foreign nation, a foreign group, and that was the Seleucids, excuse me. And they were a Greek Syrian people. And they took over the Jewish temple, which was, of course, the centerpiece of their culture. And they destroyed it. They took away all of the Jewish art and everything, and they put their own idols in. And what is important about the Jewish people at this time in history is they believed in one God. That was it. And the people who were occupying the temple believed in many gods, and so they had many idols and many items in that temple that were considered, they were considered very, what's the word I'm looking for? Can't find it, but it was not good. It was not good. And so the Jewish people just lived with it and were oppressed and couldn't be who they were until a group of people came together, and it was led by Judah Maccabee and his very small tribe of warriors. And they weren't going to let that big army, because they were against a very large army that was organized, and they said, we're not going to allow this any longer. We want to take back our temple. And so they did it. Against all odds, they did it. But when they got to the temple, it was absolutely destroyed. And so they needed to purify the temple. They need to make it whole again. And so they put up a fresh altar, and they also needed to have light in there. And their old structures for light were also destroyed. So they had to create their own menorah to hold the light. The thing was, though, they only had enough oil for one night. And they had to do what they could, but they just said, well, we've got one night, we'll just have to take it from there and do the best we can. What ended up happening is that light burned for 8 nights, and that's the miracle of Hanukkah, that light was able to go beyond what they thought it was gonna do. And so that's why on Hanukkah, we have a menorah which has 8 lights on it, and we burn each night, we light a different light. And since today is the first night of Hanukkah, we're only gonna do one light. We were joking earlier, whoever set this up had all the lights on, and I had to say, leave it to a goyim. They just do not know how to do that right. And so, I tease. I say that with love. Anyway, right on. Sorry, honey, I love you, but leave it to the Jew. Leave it to the Jew to do that. Anyways, there's so much metaphysical teachings in the story of Hanukkah, and each year I like to just thread that into my talk, just briefly. And this year I just thought it was really important to look at the temple as our lives. And sometimes in our lives, things just fall apart. They get destroyed. The walls come down, and we're sitting there in this rubble not knowing what to do, what next step to take, and we kind of just get traumatized in it all. And I think that the story of Hanukkah tells us to open up that light, turn on the light, light that light of spirit. That's all we have to do as our first step, and to never underestimate the power of the light. The cool thing about Hanukkah, the number 8 in the Bible stands for new beginnings. So in our lives, when things just fall apart and there's endings, bring that light of God in to start a new beginning, to rebuild your own temple of your own life. Because I'm sure all of you in there, as I can testify here, my life has become rubble many, many times, and I've seen myself build it up because I stand in spirit. I let spirit come in and build my temple of my new life up from that place of God, of knowing, of love and peace and joy. And when I put my energy there, the new temple of my life is incredible. And so that's a nice takeaway for us to do this year for Hanukkah. So at this point, I would like to bring up anybody who is of the Jewish faith to join me in the lighting of the candles.
Come on up. There you go. Watch your step there. All right. You got it? Watch your step.
Oh, you're welcome. Come on over.
Got it?
All right. Shalom, chaverim. I said hello, friends. So we light this candle. This is the shamash. It's the lead candle. And so let's say together, ready? Let me get this out first. Okay. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kichanu b'mitzvotav Vitzivanu lehadlik ner shel Chanukah. The words mean, blessed art thou, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who commands us on this day to commemorate Hanukkah. And so that is what we just did, and I thank you all. Thank you for listening, and happy Hanukkah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dale. You're welcome. All right, and now we're going to move into our meditation right now. So let's turn the lights down. Take a deep breath in, everyone. Let the chair support you. Back, let's take a deep breath, collective breath in. Everybody breathe in. Sigh on the exhale. I'm sure there are a lot of things that running through your mind right now that the holiday season brings, or your own personal life. And right now we ask that you just kind of hit pause on all of those things and just become fully present in this moment. Focus on the very thing that is breathing you, the thing, that life force that is moving through you. And let's take another deep breath in and exhale out. Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my serenity. As within, all around, all I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love, and I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender, let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore.
I recognize that that loving Spirit is the source of all that is. And that Spirit is God, the source of all goodness. God is unconditional love, joy, and harmony and peace. And the supply of that goodness is endless. I know that I am one with God always and in all ways. God's love, peace, harmony, joy is mine. What is true for me is true for everyone. And in the oneness of this universe, I know that giving is the essence of forgiveness. It is a gift I give to myself and to others. As a spiritual being having a human experience, I make mistakes. It is part of my learning process. Others make mistakes as they learn. Rather than hanging on to hurt, anger, and resentment, I release those feelings through forgiveness. I feel the joy, the love, and the freedom that forgiveness brings. I am so grateful to know this truth, that divine love is revealed, and I feel freedom through the process of forgiveness. I release this word into the law of mind, knowing that it is already so. Please join me in saying, and so it is. Amen.
those walls down and bring more love and forgiveness in. You know, that's what's going to heal the pain. Love is what always heals anything unlike love. Remember that. Love always heals everything that is unlike love. So when we're practicing love and forgiveness and kindness, it's always going to heal what is torn inside of us and with other people. And it's really a challenge to do. I get it, because the world sometimes seems unfair. I mean, God knows I'm looking at having to learn what questions to ask and what questions not to ask. Some questions that I ask will never be answered when you're grieving. When you're hurting, I could ask questions. Why is this happening? Sorry, I'm getting dearly distracted, but I need to talk this through, and will you help me? All right, thank you. Why is this happening? And sometimes I realize you can't ask that question, why? Ours isn't to understand. Ours is to learn to continue to live. Because there are some questions we cannot and will never be able to answer, but that doesn't mean that we stop living. It means I have to live alongside that thing. And that may be uncomfortable and take time to adjust, but I can tell you what, in life, in relationships, it's always a big adjustment, isn't it? It's one big compromise after the other. I remember Dr. Tom saying, make sure your plans are like Swiss cheese. They need to have holes in them and be able to be flexible, right? So when I put that slide up, right with God, right with each other, how about if I were to give you, it said, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to write down something you know you need to make right. Could you come up with it? I bet you could. It's impossible for us to have it is impossible for us to have a sense of being forgiven while we condemn others. So remember that in order for us to forgive, we also have to give up our right to stand in judgment of other people for their decisions. Right? That hurts, doesn't it? So we have to give up our judgment and our condemnation, because if we want to be square, we can't be judging or condemning someone else. Because what's in our heart? What kind of toxicity are we, talking about and feeling and having emotions come out over? So we can't live in condemnation and claim forgiveness and love. It's either one or the other. So think about where in life you've been making judgments and condemning someone or something or some organization or some person or some culture or some religion or something, where you have made a choice to condemn, and how that's really affecting you and the pureness of your heart. And can you let that go? I tell you what, when you're unplugging a 19-year-old, you realize what's important to you. You really do. And everything else becomes totally unimportant, all those little things, because they seem big at the time, but they're really not big. It's because that's big. When you're in a room like that, that's big. That's big. And it puts everything else in perspective. So when we stop condemning others, then we can live from that place. Now, medical science has found a correlation between unforgiveness and health issues. Bitterness yields illness. Think about it. How it affects your body. So forgiveness is also not only good for your mental health, your spiritual health, it's good for your body, your health, period. So do yourself a favor, shed a few grudges. You'll feel a lot lighter. Stress eating, a lot less, okay? Shed a few grudges. Desmond Tutu said it this way: when a hurt or harm happens, we can choose to hurt back or heal. If we choose to retaliate or pay back, the cycle of revenge and harm continues endlessly. But if we choose to forgive, we break the cycle and we can heal, renewing or releasing the relationship. Try it again. Thank you. Notice he says renewing or releasing the relationship. Sometimes we think that forgiveness means staying in. But what he's saying here is, if forgiveness is, if you forgive, but you can't let it go, then you have to let it go. Because you'll never let it go, and you'll always feel that way. We've said it 1,000 times. I may bury the hatchet, but I know where it's buried, and I will go get it when I need it. And it doesn't have an expiration date on it. I will bring things up from 1927 when you said that to me the first time, right? So I like this idea here that forgiveness means renewing. You have to renew your commitment and to whatever that is, that friendship, relationship, whatever. It's either renewing it or you go lovingly release and give safe passage to it. It's okay. But it's healed. But if we want to fight back, expect a fight back. And His Holiness, the Dalai Lama says, forgiveness is about healing suffering for ourselves and others. Until we develop compassion within ourselves and a concern about the welfare of others, we cannot truly forgive. That's another thing that's going on in the world right now. Think about the climate out there and what people are saying and doing, and it's just, there's some crazy, crazy stuff going on outside, well, some in this room too, but outside this room. And think about that. You know, forgiveness is about healing the suffering for ourselves and for others. Until we develop compassion within ourselves and are concerned about the welfare of others, it's really hard to forgive. Because why? Because we're harboring judgment. Think about it. We harbor the judgment. And who is judgment's best friend? Ego. The ego is judgment's best friend because it keeps judgment alive. Because you've made the judgment, you've made the call, and guess what's going to keep that alive? That little thing on your shoulder going, you're right, you're absolutely right. Nope, don't yield to the new idea, stay right where you are because you're right. Because it would have to say it's wrong, and the ego can't say that it's wrong. So you really have to overwrite that, you have to shut that thing up long enough for you to realize that the greater good unfolds when you allow yourself to forgive. There's an old saying that forgiveness is like longing for a better past. Have you ever heard that? Forgiveness, right? Excuse me. Yeah, forgiveness is like I'm longing for a better past. I want to change it. I want to change the past. It's a longing. And sometimes we get stuck in the story and live from the if only something would have happened, then it would have been different. Has anyone ever lived that? If only then? 7 people. Really? Seriously? Okay, 20. Okay, good. You all just are not, you're sleeping. Aaron's on. Okay, thank you. Keyword. Forgiveness is longing for a better past. And I would actually say unforgiveness is just staying stuck in it and resenting it and creating more angst around it. Does that make sense? We cannot change the past, but we can change the way we view it. We always talk about this. What did this experience teach you? I've been asking myself that question a lot. I've also realized that I may be asking it too soon. Some things have to bake a little while. We're quick to want the answer. Look at how fast we go to WebMD. Look at how fast we Google information. I sat there the other day. We wanted to know how old Barbra Streisand was. Next thing you know, beep, beep, beep. I have no idea. I don't remember. Older than I thought she was. She looked fabulous the other day on a video. Anyway, sometimes in my idea, and this is just my ideas that I'm sharing with you, right? Sometimes the teaching of something comes after the burn, the sting. We look for the teaching while we're burning, and it's elusive. In fact, it's frustrating and actually builds more angst than it does answers. Does that make sense? It builds angst, not answers. So if you're asking the question, what am I learning from this experience, and you find yourself feeling angst, maybe the answer just isn't ready to surface yet. Does that make sense? Are you able to see this experience as actually gave you a gift of wisdom, insight, compassion, and allowed you to move into a larger experience of life? That's what we want those experiences to yield. But if you're not there, you're not there. And there's nothing wrong with you for not being there. If you're not there at the time when you can go, oh, I feel compassion and insight, and I feel much better about a situation. If you're not there, then don't fake that you're there. Just be there. Call it what it is. But I ask you this, be there, but don't plan to stay there. You have to have a plan not to stay there. Does that make sense? Because many times people will be there and they're like, I can't see my way out of this. I'm never going to see my way out of this. And I have to say, if you say, I'll never see my way out, guess what will happen? You will never see your way out. But if you say to yourself, you know what? This is where I am for right now. And I know this will change eventually, but right now, I just need to sit with this. And be easier on yourself than you normally would be. And just allow yourself to sit there. Remember, this is all about forgiveness. I mean, it's all about allowing yourself to move past situations. But sometimes we're not ready to do that yet. It's still burning too much. Does that make sense? All right? Oh, I love this. In the book of Joy about Archbishop Desmond Tutu and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Bishop Tutu shares about his childhood and his alcoholic father who had abused his mother when he was drinking. I want to tell you this story because I think it's really kind of telling in terms of how we view things. It was difficult for him to forgive his father. He shared this reflection that he was really angry at himself for being too small to beat his father up. He was mean. But when he was sober, he was a wonderful person. And my mother, who I just adored, my mother was such an incredible human being, a very gentle person. That just made it even worse because when he would drink, he would become violent with her. And there was this son, him, too small to intervene when she was being roughed up. He went on to tell about his father's death at a later time and how he felt regret that he had not been able to have closure with him. He carried his own burden for many years and guilt. After listening to the Archbishop, the Dalai Lama was very quiet for a while and then said, "You spoke about how wonderful your father was when he was sober. It was only when he was drunk that these things happened. So it's the alcohol that is to blame, really. So I think even he is a very, very kind person, and when he was drunk, he is not the real person." And the Archbishop said, "I was mad at the alcohol. Thank you." Sometimes it's not the person. Sometimes it's what they're just doing. But the person themselves, think about, forgiving the person. Holly's prayer, perfect. I make mistakes, others make mistakes. If someone like that's made a mistake in your life, don't forgive them. You don't have to forgive the act, but you forgive them. You forgive the human essence that needs forgiveness. Is this making sense today? Yes. So sometimes I get mad at the person for what they're doing, and what they're doing is a result of some addiction or some behavior that I think is not acceptable to me, right? Because guess what? Because it's not just affecting them, it's affecting me, so I get angry at them. But they don't know better that, they are who they are, making the mistakes that they're making. I can't impose my intellect on someone else. Have you ever tried that? How good did that work for you? Because I know it's never worked for me, right? Trying to impose my intellect on someone else. All right. Forgiveness equals freedom. It's a process, and it frequently may take many efforts. We hear this in Scripture. Forgive 70 times 7. The reason why, those are 2 numbers of wholeness, meaning we continue to forgive until we feel whole again. And I have news for you. Even though you've forgiven someone, there's going to be something that's going to trigger a sense of unforgiveness again, and you're going to get upset and have to go through the whole process again. It's going to piss you off. You know, and they're going to be like, I thought I was done with this. And, of course, the other person will say, I thought you were too, and that will just piss you off even more because now they're your two, you know, it's like, okay, ready to engage. Here we are. Here we're going again. Have at it. Round 2. Bing, gone. Right? Everybody been there before? So don't think it's a one-time thing. It can be. What a gift what it would be. But if it surfaces again, just do it again. You know, I mean, I'm coming back to my week, my 2 weeks, you know? And I could bring it back to that every time. Now, I always don't want to bring it back to a situation that is really dark and depressing, but you know what? That's a pretty dark area to hang out in. You know, the loss of a friend and the loss of a child. You know, a very talented, beautiful young lady that I hung out with, and we go to the water park, and we laugh and have a great time, and she's gone, and you think, oh, my God, okay, is this really that important? Do I really need to throw the gauntlet down on this one and hang on to it and arm myself up and get the armor up and get the, you know, do I need to bring all that up? Is it really that important? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is I bet most of our issues are champagne issues. Really, compared to what some others are having to deal with in their lives. I'll take my champagne issues, and I'm going to have to just tell myself, geez, Joe, get over it. Look at you. You're a mess. You know, don't harbor that anymore. It doesn't need to be there. If there's any, I'm almost done. If there's any anger, condemnation, or animosity in me, I release it and I let it go. Say that with me, please. If there is any anger, condemnation, or animosity in me, I release it and let it go. Next. I turn to that silent presence within me which gives all, forgives all, and withholds nothing. Say that with me. I turn to that silent presence within me which gives all, forgives all, and withholds nothing. So when it comes to forgiveness, there's your template right there. There's a template you can use this week. You can use this as your template, not just this week, forever. But in particular, your homework this week is to actually start exercising this. First night of Hanukkah, walls are going down, the light is coming on, very symbolic. Forgiveness is in the air. You know, this is it. This is a good time to do this. It's a good time to walk into situations because there's lots of social situations and family situations and all sorts of things that you could be walking into the next few weeks and have this new, renewed sense of self. Awaken yourself to this because it will change all things. You there? And so ends your lesson. Thank you.
Would the ushers please come forward? Those of you that are live streaming, there's a button there to donate. You can make your offering while we make ours, or you can also text your offering. That was really good, Dr. Joe. All right. So let us, as we're ready to prepare, we're preparing to give our offering, let us just be in that state of gratitude as we say our prayer. I offer this gift with joy and gratitude. I receive freely and give freely, knowing the law of circulation is working perfectly in my life and the life of this center.
All right, folks, here we go. We have to brighten the energy up a little bit. All right, come on, sing with me. Every day I wake up and I say, up and I say, today I love my life. And every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. It's up to me to be thankful. It's up to me to be kind. It's up to me to be grateful. It's up to me. It's up. Everybody on your feet. Come on, sing with me. Come on. Every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. And every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. One time all the way through. Here we go. And every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life. And every day I wake up and I say, today I love my life.
All right. Okay, I don't think I know you. What is your name?
I'm Kenny.
Kenny, how long have you been coming here?
5 years.
Oh, I'm so bad. So bad, Kenny. So where have you
Kenny
been
normally
hiding?
sneaks in the back.
Okay, that sleeps and sneaks and sleeps. So why have you been coming here and you can't sleep anywhere else? What?
Well, because my wife kicks me out the house.
Oh, well, we're happy you're here.
Thank you. Right now.
We forgive you, Kenny. We're happy you're here, Kenny.
Thank you.
All right, so let us just bless our offering, please. We bless this collective offering and receive it with gratitude, knowing it is spirit in action. As this currency flows through our center and beyond, it blesses many lives, including my own. Well, it was nice to see you up front today, Kenny. That's why I noticed you. I did notice you over there.
See?
Yes. All right. All right. So please give this to Tom Kelly, who's chair of our Abundance Committee.
Wait, before you do this, one more quick announcement. Make sure you grab a giving sheet to one of the two organizations. Come back next week. We'll collect that. Also, blankets. Bring blankets in. Unused, brand new blankets would be great. And Poinsettia Tree, sign up for the Poinsettia Tree, and Nadine has that beautiful CD out there, so grab that with you. Give that to a gift to yourself and someone else, because that meditation is truly a gift, all right?
Opens
Thank you,
your
everybody.
heart. All right. Thank you, Dr. Joe. And so at this time, I'd like to welcome our guests. If you are here for the first time, please stand. We have a gift for you. We'd love to welcome you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. And back there too, Gary. So anyway, so what we've given you is a CD holder with information about our center. And please stop by the table or the desk in the foyer and pick up a CD of a couple of Dr. Joe's talks. If you're visiting the Valley, please enjoy. If you're from the Valley, we'd love for you to come back and make this your spiritual home and your family. All right. Would all my practitioners please stand up? This is part of the prayer team that's over in the Ohm room. Some of our, I don't know where all they are, but Christine's over there. Annie's over there holding high watch. Like I said, she's not sleeping. She's holding that consciousness. So if you're going through anything, please go over into the Ohm room for prayers. We have miracles happen here every day. Don't forget this week, that's everything that's going on this week. We have there's something here almost every week. I don't see on Thursday, we also have our choir that meets, the Threshold Choir. So if you're interested in that, please join them. I'm not sure what time, but there's a flyer out there. So let's just do a closing prayer. So this has been a rough week for our center, for our organization, and also for this country, losing our president. So what we know is and believe is we believe in the eternality of life. We know that spirit is always present, that we live eternally, that there is this thin veil between this life and the life where spirit resides. And so we just give thanks. We remember in these moments how truly blessed we are to have the loved ones in our life. We don't take anything for granted. So I know that out of that pain, it just tells us how truly deeply we love. And that is our purpose. We came here to love. We came here to share that love. And we are so grateful for those in our lives that love us and that we love. So we release any anger, any pettiness, knowing that what is really important is love. And so I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the lives that have touched my life and for the lives that I am honored to touch. And so I just say thank you. Thank you for every opportunity that we have to love and to remember. And I just let go, knowing that this is the absolute truth. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you.